Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Pretty Little Podcast. I'm Allie Violet Vixen Commissaro, and my podcaster in crime.
Hi guys, I'm Jessie. Welcome back. We're so happy to be with you guys another week.
So, tonight we dive deep into the punk rock spirit. We're unleashing that raw power that is definitely maybe. Sit back, turn up the volume, and brace yourselves for a wild ride. Please welcome Definitely Maybe.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, I want you to introduce yourself real quick and give a little, what you do and a little bit about the band.
Sure. My name is Courtney. I sing in the band Definitely Maybe. We started in 2022 releasing music together, and then in the fall of that year started playing live. We sing a lot about things like mental health. After losing my sister to suicide in 2020 is kind of when I started being able to write music and sing songs and kind of have the courage to get up on stage and share things that maybe people wouldn't share. So our whole goal with the project is just to have fun, enjoy it, make music, and kind of spread the message of people not being alone. So we just want to be in rooms full of people with fun, loud music and happy thoughts.
We commend you on that. We love when
Yes.
people speak up, and that's the only way that other people can kind of learn is if one person speaks out.
Yeah, agreed.
So, what is the story behind the name?
Oh, good question. A lot of people assume it's one of two things, and it's neither of those two things. They either assume that it's the rom-com, Definitely Maybe, with Ryan Reynolds, which actually none of us have seen. Fun fact.
So
Now it's
funny.
like on principle, we won't watch it. Or they assume it's the Oasis album that turned 30 this year,
Mhm.
which it is not. But if you Google Definitely Maybe, that's probably what's going to come up. It's actually a song that was written by a band called FM Static back in 2003. They had another project called Thousand Foot Crutch, which was a little bit more wider known, like new metal kind of scene.
Yeah.
And then FM Static was their pop punk side project. And both me and our bassist Sawyer and our guitar player, we grew up going to church and Christian households. And so that whole like 2002 to 2008 pop punk Christian
The Reliant K,
Like Hawk Nelson, Flyleaf, like all that stuff from back then is kind of what got us into this type of music. So with their permission, of course, we asked first, but we are named after that song, Definitely Maybe by FM Static.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's really surprising. I definitely would not have I would not have assumed that. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Can you describe the energy or atmosphere of a typical Definitely Maybe live performance?
Oh my gosh, it's so special. We haven't actually played live all that much. We've probably played total like a dozen shows, maybe 15. And every time we do it, it feels so different, but so special. I feel like the vibe in the crowd is very connected, very invested. They're not there to get lost necessarily. They're there to engage and connect and find people and sing songs that actually mean something to them, which is really special to me. That's kind of how I operate as well. And so it's very kind, it's open, it's brave. People listen, they pay attention, they're not chit chatting during songs and things like that. And it just feels like a really safe and brave space to open up. So there's a lot of, heartfelt conversations at the merch booth and a lot of hugs that are given out and pictures being taken. It's just a time to kind of feel present and connected. And obviously, the music is fun and energetic. So there's a ton of jumping and dancing and singing and yelling. And we always try to play a cover from back in the day so that people who maybe don't know our music as well can connect if they're not yet a part of what we've got going on. So just very open, very brave, very fun, and very connected. Everyone's very present, which is really awesome.
Well, since you said you do covers, who are some of your influences?
Oh, so many. We just played in Detroit and Chicago this past weekend, and we covered the Anthem by Good Charlotte, which is always a fun one.
Yeah.
They're on my bucket list. I was just saying the other day, I heard them come on Sirius, and I'm like,
oh my gosh.
yeah, they're bucket list.
So good. They're so classic. And even my mom knows that song. She was like, I didn't think I knew it, but then you started singing. And I was like, how do I know the words? So definitely Good Charlotte. We got to play a Halloween show where we covered half Paramore, half Avril Lavigne. So obviously the two queens are a huge inspiration. FM Static, Hawk Nelson, Reliant K, all those bands from that Christian pop punk scene back in the day. And then it's kind of different for all of us. So for me, it was a lot of Evanescence, a lot of Paramore, a lot of bands like that. Boys Like Girls, All Time Low, kind of that scene. And then for our guitar player, he's a big blues guy. So it's a lot of like John Mayer, Snarky Puppy, like all that kind of stuff. And then our bassist Sawyer, he's more of like a pop girly. He loves Justin Bieber and listens to Top 50. And so we kind of all bring that to the table. And so we used to cover actually a lot of Katy Perry. We'd like pop punk some Katy Perry songs and play that. So it's kind of well-rounded, but yeah, a lot of that pop punk scene from back in the day. And then we even have covered like Olivia Rodrigo from Top Pop. We're really inspired by that too.
Now, what do you kind of try to bring to it? Like, do you try to go at it like this is the cover and try to make it just like the cover, or do you go and twist it and just make it your own?
Good question. I feel like generally we try to stay close to the true cover. The Olivia Rodrigo one is funny because when we cover Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo, we're actually covering a cover. So it's a JXDN cover of that song. And same with when we cover Katy Perry, there's like a rock version of her song, Hot and Cold. And so we'll cover the rock version, but we usually stick pretty close to whatever the cover is. Because to me, and this definitely, is a personal opinion, but we're usually opening up the show. We're a newer band. We don't have a ton of music. I'm not expecting that everyone knows who we are. And so for me, the cover moment is so important because that's when people that didn't come to the show to see you are actually going to be able to connect and sing the words and enjoy the song. And so that's kind of how I treat that moment. So I want to make sure that if we're saying we're going to sing the anthem by Good Charlotte, people can sing along. They're not going to get lost. They know that they know the song and they can kind of feel comfortable to let go and have fun.
Yeah.
What was the last song that you added to your playlist?
Oh man, we do New Music Friday is like a sacred holy day in our house.
I love that. Yeah, I do a new album every week, so
yes,
that's it.
So sick. And so we wait until we're in the car. Like we won't do New Music Friday anywhere else. It has to be in the car. Luckily we commute to the suburbs a lot to see my family. We drive a ton, so I'll queue up all the new music. And then we have like a playlist that will add new stuff too. So I'm trying to think of what we listened to yesterday. There's this artist out of the UK called Lauren Hibbard, and she just opened for All Time Low on tour. Okay. So we got to see her live, which was rad. And she dropped a song probably 2 months ago called Mary. That was really good. And then she just dropped another one on Friday called Second Prettiest Girl in the World. And it's a banger. So that was the one I added to my playlist most recently.
I love that.
That's great. Oh, I'll have to look that up when we get off.
Yeah, she's fun.
So can you describe your creative process behind creating new music?
Sure. It's a blast. I think that might be my favorite part besides, meeting people at the merch booth. That's also something I love. But it's kind of 50-50 how we start songs and how we write. Either I will come up with a melody and a lyric, like a hook, and I'll put it in a voice memo or sing it out loud, and then we'll have Ian build the guitars around that, and then Sawyer will come in with the drums and bass, and we'll build around that like vocal melody or that hook.
Yeah.
Or I will give Ian and Sawyer like a vibe. I'll say, okay, give me Avril Lavigne circa 2004, but make it angry, and like we'll go from there, and then we'll write to that. Also, my cat is here. She wants to say hi.
Beautiful baby.
Little ladybug. We have 3. We have a lot, too many. So basically I have this master notes thing on my phone in the notes app where I just write ideas and it goes on forever because I've had it for like 4 years. And that's generally where we'll pull from for lyrics. So whether we start with a melody idea that pops into my head or we start with instruments, we'll usually pull something from that notes app and we'll just start kind of putting the pieces together. It almost feels like a puzzle. And like we know we have all the pieces, we just need to find them.
Just putting them together in the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so how does Definitely Maybe use their platform to advocate for the social change or to raise awareness about important causes?
Well, I certainly hope we do that. But I think the main way that we try is not trying to speak from a place anywhere else aside from our own experience. So I'm not trying to, tell people how to live their life or say everyone has to get up on stage and share super vulnerable stuff and write music. Like I know that's not what everyone's going to do. But I think for us and what we experienced together with losing my sister is just we saw the consequences of keeping secrets and the consequences of keeping things hush hush and the consequences of shame and we all grew up in the church. We actually met in church band, and sadly a lot of the church environments that we were around were very shame based, and we got to experience worst case scenario, what happens when all of that culminates and people just can't take it anymore. And so I think what we try to do is just speak from that experience and just try to tell people my sister's story, because she was so beautiful and so lovely, and that isn't gone even though she's gone. And so just keeping that memory alive, speaking from our own experience. We all are in therapy, we all navigate our own things, and so we have our own experiences with mental health, and so that's probably the biggest cause I'd say that we speak into. And so from a concrete perspective, whether that's donating, a certain percentage of merch profits, or one of the shows this weekend was a pajama party music festival where all the profits went to a mental health network, which was really, really special. And stuff like that obviously is a given. And we've donated to organizations like To Write Love on Her Arms, which was kind of the classic.
Yeah, it was.
Way back in the day. Yeah. So
we all used to in high school. It was
yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge deal.
It's so crazy.
Well, that must be an awesome feeling. It's coming full circle to where something you grow up with is something you're contributing to a lot too.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just being open and vulnerable and sharing stories, and I know that's something that I can handle, and I've practiced it a lot. I'm used to it. It's not something that a lot of people are comfortable with. So if that's something I can do, so that someone else maybe doesn't have to, or it's something that they'll hear for the first time, I'm willing to be that person for them. So I think just being really open, being honest, not being afraid to talk about things, and kind of trying to take the shame out of it is sort of how we approach that.
Now, do you have a lot of people come up to you and talk to you about what they're going through since you're so vocal about it?
Absolutely. Which, it can be a lot to take on, but it's also, it's an honor to be able to share that burden with someone. And at the merch booth, people will come up to me, and this past weekend, someone said, tomorrow, I'm celebrating 20 years of my brother taking his own life and celebrating, the time we had with him. And he was able to open up, and his wife was there, and they were both, teary eyed, and I got to give them a hug. And a lot of people will talk about people that they've lost that maybe they haven't been able to be as open about, because people get uncomfortable, and rightly so. I mean, it's a hard topic to discuss. And so
it's affected so many people though.
Yes.
Especially like after the pandemic and everything else. I mean, I know personally I've lost a lot of people in my life. I talk to people all the time that have also, and it's nice that you're giving people that space that they can find it okay to talk about it.
Yeah. It's truly an honor. And one of my favorite moments, we played a show at one of our favorite venues in Chicago called Reggie's. And I was in the bathroom, and my mom was in the stall and it wouldn't lock. So I was like holding it closed with my butt. And then like people were coming in and they saw, oh, like you were just on stage. So they talked to me on their way into the stall. And this one girl stopped in front of me and she was like, yeah, hi. Like she's clearly like flustered and nervous. And she was like, I just wanted to say like, thank you so much for what you said. Like I've really been going through it. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, thank you so much. I was like, can I give you a hug? And she just goes, please. And then she just like burst.
Aw.
I was like holding the door shut for my mom with my butt, like leaning forward, hugging this girl, and just got to like talk to her. And I think we exchanged Instagrams, and it's just like really, really special to be able to provide that space for people who maybe were having trouble finding it elsewhere, you know.
Definitely. So how do you maintain the perfect balance between punk, edge, and pop hooks in your sound?
I think it's a combination of all of our backgrounds. Like we're all so different. If you looked at our play, I mean, now we're kind of the same since we've been, nonstop doing this for 2 years. It's kind of morphed into each other. But
You found your sound.
yes, before that, it was very much like, how do we get this John Mayer guy to write these like punk riffs, and how do we get Pop Bailey to sing about stuff that's not breakups and drinking and partying? Like so we all just kind of like lean on each other and trust each other and know that we all bring something different. I think that's really helped us find our sound. But even if you listen to our older music, it leans very like alt pop, indie pop, and we don't self-produce. Well, we've always paid someone else to do that. We wanted to work with people, network, and so we used to be really producer reliant. Like they definitely would shape the sound, and now we've gotten to a point where we've all kind of found that place where our favorite things about our favorite music can meet in this one spot, which is the songs that we create. So I think that's really special and really cool, and it's made it easier for us to kind of maintain an identity when we bring a song to a producer. It's like we actually know, like, okay, this is the sound. Like the integrity of it's going to stay. The producer is going to help us refine it, but that's kind of how it's been. So we just sort of met in the middle, trusted each other, riffed off each other, and kind of found that sweet spot. We wanted it to be simultaneously nostalgic and fresh at the same time, which is difficult to do.
Well, we got to talk about Are We Having Fun Yet?
Ooh,
Tell us all about it.
Oh my God. When I wrote that song, I was not having fun. We had actually just had a conversation as a band. We'd been going through some difficult times being in a band. It's tough. People are tough. People are complicated. There's a lot that goes into it. And then when you start bringing in, personal testimony and a ton of money that you're spending and time away from work, and it's just a lot. And so we had been fighting and kind of doing that thing where the band breaks up and then we get back together, and then it's kind of the cycle. And it was a really hard time. And we had previously booked 2 sessions. We were going to LA in October. We were going to do 2 songs with a producer out there, and then we were going to do 3 songs in Nashville in December with a different guy. And we had already put the deposits down. We had already found, places to stay. The money was there. So we were going to do it. And we all agreed, like, okay, even if the band, is broken up or whatever, like we already paid the non-refundable deposit, we're going to do it. And so we just looked at each other and we said, like, we're really tired. We've spent a lot of money. It's been a lot of time. And it's just that maybe, we tried and we just aren't going to do it. It's not going to be for us. It's okay. Like we tried, we knew that we wanted to try. And so we decided that if the songs from the next 2 sessions didn't move the needle for us in a noticeable way in any capacity, that we were going to pump the brakes. And so that was the end of 2023. And so if the songs didn't do well, then we were probably going to be done and just play for fun and just kind of, take the stress out of it. And ironically, after that is when One More Night popped off on TikTok. And so that was like the sign of like, okay, not time to hang it up yet.
So, man, that's weird. That's really weird.
It was bizarre.
That is a sign. If you wanted a sign, there it was.
Yes, which was
like your numbers, even in the time that like we've been talking to you about the show. I mean, your numbers just keep going and going and going, which is great.
Yeah, it was definitely super unexpected, and we were just, I mean, at the bottom of our motivate. Like we were just so ready to pack it up, and we'd been posting 3 to 8 TikToks a day for 6 months straight, and we've been releasing music and spending money, and so getting ready for those sessions, which kind of felt like it was like our wake and then like our funeral. It was like the October session was like, okay, we still have one left. And then December, it was like, okay, this might be it. So it was just kind of morbid. And we knew we were making one more night in LA. And that song obviously was really special to us even before TikTok. And then the second song we made in LA in October was Are We Having Fun Yet? And we made it. It was super late at night. We were fucking exhausted, and we had been demoing out songs for those 2 sessions. We did not have enough music to bring to the producers, so we were like busting our asses trying to get songs ready for them that we liked and cared about. Meanwhile, things are tense. We're having difficulties in our relationships with each other, and I just was like writing in my notes because we were working on a different song that actually comes out March 1st. And I wrote the entire chorus of Are We Having Fun Yet? Melody, guitar part, like lyrics, all of it in like 20 seconds. And I just turned my computer over and I showed Ian, and he read it, and he thought that I was like typing him a note and like asking him the question, like, hey, are we having fun? Like, I was like, no, this is a song I do. Like, this is a song. And I was like, I know it's like 1 a.m. and we're leaving for LA at 7 a.m. and we got to catch a flight. But like, I really hear it in my head. Like, let's just get it started. And so I feel like it was one of the freshest ideas. Like, it was the first time in a few months that we had a new idea that we were excited about. Because I mentioned we pull from like really old ideas from my notes. So sometimes we'll go way back. Like I'll have written a lyric like years ago and we'll pull it up, but this was something brand new that like wasn't from my notes app. It just came into my head, and it was just such a raw expression of what we were all feeling. Kind of like, the guys, Ian and Sawyer, like they love music, they have fun with music, they were in jazz bands and marching bands, and it was just something that they like thoroughly enjoyed. And I just was looking at them when we were making demos, and I was like, I think I fucked that up. Like, I don't think that they're enjoying this. And so like, then what's the point? Like, do you want to keep doing something if it's like making you miserable, if it's driving us apart, if we're just spending all of our money and we're tired? Like, at what point do we look back and say, like, remember how hard we worked? Like, it was all worth it. Like, we just weren't getting to that point. It wasn't fulfilling us. It wasn't satisfying, at least for me. I mean, I can't really speak for the guys, but I think that because I felt that, I was kind of projecting that onto them too. And so it was just a very honest song. It came together super, super fast. And yeah, we're super proud of it. It's also funny because when we went to LA and worked on One More Night, we love that song. But then when we started working on Are We Having Fun Yet? It just became such a special song and such a unique song for us. And we were all so excited. We almost just like wanted to get One More Night out of the way so that we could release Are We Having Fun Yet? Obviously that would change with TikTok, but yeah, I'm super proud of that song, and it's a lot of fun to be able to ask on stage, are we having fun yet? And then the crowd's like, ah! And we kick into
I love that. Yeah.
That was a very long story.
So we love to ask if there's any like little hidden things that fans can like look for in the videos or the songs.
Ooh, probably. Oh,
like
man.
those hidden gems, don't we, Josie?
Yeah, Taylor Swift style Easter eggs. I mean, not really. I feel like we should do that, but we don't. Nothing off the top of my head. The music video is pretty simple. It's like my favorite thing about it is the black wine in the wine glasses, which was just water and food coloring. Everyone's like, "What was that?" I'm like, "Just water." And like the black candies and stuff like that. But
most of all, you guys just look like you're having fun.
I know,
like, all your videos, like you just look like you're just living your best life.
Oh yeah, I know. I say that on stage too. I'm like, when I wrote this song, I was not having fun, but playing it live is a lot of fun. That one goes hard live.
So do you have any routines or rituals that you do before your shows?
We always at the beginning, we'll kick a track on. We have like a remix of our song This Time I Swear, and we'll pop that on. It's kind of like dancey and EDM like remix style, which is hilarious. And so we'll let that play, and then we all meet around the drum set, and we all make eye contact with each other, and we put our hands in, and we figure out something to like say. But we all just want to have a moment before we play where we can connect and like see each other, because on stage, you're counting on these people, you're leaning on them, you're all kind of doing the same thing, and that's super important. And I think something that stands out with us is we all have a really good connection on stage, even despite like the time periods where we were fighting or whatnot. Like we all truly just really want to be a part of it, and so we just make sure that we connect with each other and prioritize each other on that stage and have each other's backs, and then we kick into it. I drank a lot of throat coat tea before sets. We used to do like a tequila shot, but we're trying to get away from that because we don't want to have to be reliant on something like that to perform. So a lot of tea, a lot of connecting, a lot of hugs, a lot of encouragement.
I can definitely appreciate that you came on and you're like, yeah, we have had problems and we dealt with it. A lot of bands come on and they're like, we don't have any problems.
They're like, we're fine. It's
Yeah,
like,
we have no problems. We're great. We're happy all the time.
At least I have something to write about. But yeah, it's difficult. I usually say, and I don't know if he likes that I say this, but I've been married for 4 years and I've been in a band for 2, and being in a band has been unbelievably more challenging than being married. Like being married's hard. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Being in a band, way harder. So insane. But that kind of like, things that are difficult in life. And I kind of like to compare it to tattoos as well. Like if something's going to be permanently on your body, it better fucking hurt. It better take a long time. It better be expensive. Like you don't want that shit to be meaningless. And so as much as it absolutely sucks to have had issues, it comes out in the lyrics and the music and the way we perform and how we interact with each other. And so I think it can be something that comes out better on the other side, which is a redeeming quality of it. It's like props to the people who don't fight, but I don't know, it makes things interesting for sure. It's very inspiring.
I think it's relationship building too. Like the way I view like problems and friendships and fighting is I always heard when you weld things back together, they're actually stronger.
Yes.
Like I always heard that like things that are welded back together, when you weld metal back together, is actually stronger than it originally was. So I think about that with friendships and relationships and stuff like that. If you can fight and work through it, you are a million times stronger than two friends that don't fight or a band that doesn't fight, because you have that problem solving ability and that love for each other and respect for each other to work it out, which is amazing, and that says a lot about you and the band in general.
And I think anybody that's like doing their thing, especially when you go from like not really having any money on your project to making money, and like the dynamic changes, like I think like it's natural for people to kind of have different feelings.
Yeah.
But I also feel that kind of adds to the whole vibe though.
Yeah, the stakes get higher, which is what you want. You're getting to where you want to be, and then it gets more difficult.
So on a positive note, are there any bands that you would love to collab with?
So many. I want to collab with so many bands. We're kind of producer nerds, so like that view credits button on Spotify, we're all about that. I feel like we do want to collab with bands. There's so many bands we want to collab with, but producers are kind of like where we like send the cold email and slide into the DMs and like really want to work with people. But right now we're really loving Beauty School Dropout. They're inspiring us a fuck ton. They opened for Blink 182 on tour, which was awesome for them. Huge. They're super nice guys, very creative and very unique, and they self-produce a lot of their tracks, which is absolute insanity. So Beauty School Dropout, All Time Low would obviously be a dream come true.
That's an iconic band.
Yeah, we got to work with one of their guys in Nashville on the next set of songs that's coming out, and it was just incredible. They're fantastic. If you know the song Weightless by All Time Low, that was like an inspo for one of our tracks on our upcoming EP. So pretty special. Beautiful Dropout, All Time Low. We love Taylor Acorn. She'd probably be a dream collab for us. We sing about similar things.
We had Mark Fruity on from
Oh, yes. Oh my God, we love
totally. I could see some like crazy collab there also.
Oh yeah, TBD. There, I mean, can't say anything, but there might be. We love them. So they work with a guy out of Orlando named Andy, and he did our debut EP with us. So we have worked with the same people, which is awesome, and is probably why we have a bit of a similar sound. But collaborating with 408 would be a dream. They've been a band that we've been watching for years, and we're obsessed with them.
That's awesome. We're gonna have to like kind of like send them, tag you in post and like do
Plant the seed.
Yes, we are.
So can we hear some of your favorite lyrics? It can be from any song.
Oh, any song at all, or songs we've done?
Any of the songs that your songs.
Okay. Ooh. Gosh, I am a lyrics girl.
Yeah, your lyrics are sick.
I really like the bridge of "Are We Having Fun Yet?" I like to play on classic cliches that I always fucking hated growing up. So like things like "time heals all wounds." It's like, well, no, it doesn't. Like scientifically, it doesn't, and spiritually and emotionally, no, it doesn't. Or like everything happens for a reason. Like stuff that was so blanket to me frustrated the shit out of me. And it's not that I don't believe necessarily the cores of those things to be true, or like that they're good to say, or that maybe they could be helpful in a situation, but to like die on that hill is, I feel like, a very Christian thing to do, is like to die on the hill of those, like, we may not have all the answers, but we know things will all work, whatever. So in the bridge, it starts by saying, they say time heals, but it just feels different. And like, I'm still in pain. It's like time doesn't heal necessarily, just changes things. And so to have been promised, as a kid, that like time heals all wounds, and then you learn the hard way that it doesn't. Like, let's just stop telling our kids that like time heals all wounds, because it doesn't. So anything that like plays off of an old ideal, or kind of digs deeper into something, I think I enjoy. So they say time heals, but it just feels different, and I'm still in pain, is something I wrote that came from a very vulnerable place. And then
that's extremely relatable.
Yeah. And then we wrote This Weekend a bit in the Airbnb, and there's a song that we're working on. I don't think it has a name yet, but part of the chorus says, because what you thought what you wanted isn't what you wanted at all. And it kind of goes to like the theme of Are We Having Fun Yet? Where it's like, you're so sure that you want something, and then maybe you finally get there and you look back and you're like, well, I'm here now. Was this worth it? Am I where I want to be? Like, is this actually what I wanted? Or even like a relationship like that you're trying to make it work, and maybe you shouldn't even be in it. So yeah.
I can't even wait for your when is it being released?
Well, there's one, we have a song on March 1st that's coming out called I Don't Sleep at Night. And I guess I could touch on a lyric in that one too. The bridge of that song was actually inspired by a nightmare that Ian had as a child. He had like a dream, where he was on his bed. It was like a lucid dream where you're like in your actual space, but you're still dreaming. And so he was like a little tiny kid, little baby Ian, and he the devil was under his bed, and so he like couldn't get out.
That's terrifying. Dream. I didn't expect that one. Okay.
Yeah, and so that's what the cover of I Don't Sleep at Night is. It's like the devil is like in the bedroom.
What was he doing before bed?
I know, and he's like such a happy, sunshiny guy. Like, he doesn't do negative. He doesn't do horror films. He's like not a sad voice. It's like very uncharacteristic, which I
The
think is
last time I
why,
watched a horror movie.
yes, I think that's why the nightmare stuck with him, was like, that's just not, I have nightmares every night. Not that they're not
Yeah.
scary, but like I wouldn't think anything of it, but he like really remembers it. And so the bridge of I don't sleep at night is, the devil is under my bed, I'll sleep with my feet over the edge, sort of like tempting fate. So like if the devil's
Yeah.
up there and he wants to get me, like come get me, bro. I don't
Oh, I'm so
give a
excited.
shit. So that's another one that I'm pumped about. That comes out March 1st, and it's definitely spooky vibes.
So, with your fan base growing the way it is, how do you guys kind of stay true to the sound that you've set and kind of experiment with new ideas and new sounds and new, like, how do you
Yeah. I think
you
we
just
just,
wing it?
yeah, we just don't, I think we don't get married to anything. We're not like, we're not going to die on a hill of like some cliche or some statement. Like we only do X. We only make this kind of song. We only write about mental health. Like we just try not to deal in that like dichotomy and try to stay fluid. And I think collaboration is a huge piece of it. So
Yeah.
the fact that we don't self-produce, the fact that we seek out producers that we love and admire, who work with bands that we love and admire, so that we can push ourselves to sound like the people we admire, or at least, you know, find our own version of that. So collaboration's been huge, with other people, leaning on each other's different experiences and musical tastes. Like with our EP coming out in May, every single song on it sounds so different. Like it's not, you listen to like Fever Dream by Palais Royale, or like Weird by Youngblood, and like every song has that like connecting piece. Like
Yeah.
we just don't have that. For better or for worse, I don't know if that's a good thing. Like every song is just
I just went
so
on like a Young Blood binge the other day.
oh, I love him so much.
He has performed, he can literally switch up, like he's performed with so many crazy people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I almost had to do a double check. I'm like, is this still him, or did like I
Mhm.
get a suggestion thrown in there? Like
Yeah.
he is crazy.
He'd be a dream collab for sure. He works with a producer called Chris Griotti a lot, who also did a lot of Willow Smith's new stuff. He did the Palais Royale album, and he's like a fucking genius. He's like on our bucket list, would empty the bank account to work with him kind of person. But yeah, I think with growing fan base, I think it's cool because we've sort of not trained them, but they know not to have expectations. Like they know that they probably don't know what the next one's going to sound like. And so like on the EP coming up in May, we have a ballad that's on there, like a slower song that's definitely a lot more on like the pop side, and we've always wanted to do like a slower, moodier, like sad ballad, and it's not really something that comes naturally to us. Ian's like super sunshine and rainbows. Sora's very like peaceful guy. I'm like the sad brooding one, but I'm more on the angry side. So we couldn't have gotten there on our own easily. And so we brought that to the producer, and we brought them this inspo track. There's this band out of the UK called Uninvited, and holy shit, are they good. Their song Survivor's Guilt. Sawyer sent it to me when I was walking home from
Survivor Guild.
Oh my God. And I like clicked it on. I was just walking home from work to the train. All of a sudden, tears. And I haven't had that happen when listening. I have like goosebumps right now. I haven't had that on the first listen of a song of a band I didn't know in years. I mean, it's been a long time since a song has hit me like that. Probably since 2020, when everything was hitting me like a fucking tidal wave.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that song, I mean, it's just stunning. And so we brought that to the producer in Nashville. And we said, we want a song like this. Like we want a song that you just like, the first note comes in and you just feel it. And like we've tried and we can't. So like you tell us where to start. Like you steer the ship. And so we're very excited about that song. It's a super special song to me. It's about relationships. It's called Nevermind. We've been playing it live. So shameless plug for if we come to a city near you and you want to hear it before it's out in May. But I wrote it about blaming my parents for my sister's death, which is like, whoa, super deep. But the way that the song ended up being finished, it's like just a broad portrayal of like a strange relationship of any capacities. Like you wouldn't listen and automatically be like, oh, this is about, Courtney's parents. You would never know, which is kind of cool. But it's been awesome to lean on other people who are so good at what they do and still have it sound like us, but something we could have never done on our own. So I think that's kind of how we approach it. And on TikTok, we're very sporadic, and so people know.
Now, you said you're recording with someone in California and someone in Nashville.
Yeah, so we had a session in October where we did One More Night and Are We Having Fun Yet with someone out in LA. And then we made 3 songs with Dan Swank in Nashville, which is the I Don't Sleep at Night that's coming out March 1st. And then the last 2 will come out on an EP with all of those in May, which we're super excited about.
That's fun because you're getting 2 totally different scenes, like,
perspectives and people working on it.
The LA producer, Kevin, he works out of Colin Britton's studio, who Colin's worked with, like Youngblood. He works with a lot of the pop punk people. I'm trying to think of who else he's worked with. But then Kevin is more of like, his favorite band is Cannibal Corpse. And he did like Papa Roach's record, A Day to Remember, kind of like the darker stuff. But then Dan out in Nashville, he does Taylor Acorn. He does Arrows in Action. He's working a lot with Knox, which is really cool. Knox has that song Love Letter and Not the 1975, like very much on the brighter, poppier kind of side. And so just to have like the contrast and come out with such different music that's still, I mean, it's not going to be not us because it's us making it, I think is also what we try to rest in is like, we know who we are and we wouldn't write something that wasn't authentic. And so that definitely helps. But yeah, LA, even just the cities, LA and Nashville are so different. But then the people we worked with were so different. The process was so different. And that's another reason we love working with producers is that we
any fun behind the scene moments from recording.
Oh God, so too many. Well, in LA, when we were recording One More Night, that's when the first TikTok popped off. So we had a TikTok, our first one ever to gain traction. I posted in the studio and like put my phone down. We worked on the song a little, opened it back up. And I was like, holy fuck, you guys, like this TikTok has 10,000 views. And then it would end up getting to 100,000. And we were working on that song in the studio. So it was like such an encouraging, like, wow, this is so validating.
Yeah.
And then I think the coolest behind the scenes moment for us and like bucket list moment so far is on I think it was like the second song we released, This Time I Swear. We got to work with a guy called Matt Squire, and he was out in Baltimore. He did the debut albums for Boys Like Girls, All Time Low, Panic at the Disco, Ariana Grande, One Direction, like all, like when he worked with Panic, Brendan Urie was like still in high school. The band had never played live. Like they were just these kids, so insane. And so we drove from Chicago to Baltimore. Our car broke down in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania, smoke fuming out of the hood of the car. We barely made it. We like rolled up to a Firestone, dropped the car off, had to Uber to our first session with Matt, like 6 hours late. And it was just absolute chaos. And we were super nervous. We had only had 1 session before that. I had only sang in a studio in front of another producer once before being in that room with Matt Squire. And he would just casually name drop in like, not in like a pretentious way, just like in a, this is like his life kind of way. And so I'd be sitting on the couch and he'd be like, yeah, that couch is where Benny Blanco had his first co-write, like so wild. And then like we went outside and he was like, this is actually where Dear Maria, Count Me In was written. They came up with the idea like standing right here while we were all taking a sunshine break, and we were all just like, what?
You guys are trying to keep poker face.
You were like, that's insane.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that was a dream. He's like God status for us. He was so absurd, like just the coolest person ever. That was a lot of fun. And like we almost didn't make it. We like broke the bank on that session, and then the car fucking exploded in the middle of the road while we were going there. And we're like, you know what? Maybe it's a sign. People don't want us to go to Baltimore, but so glad we did. That was.
Well, if you're ever break down in Pennsylvania or just want to roll through here, like,
yes,
got some connections for you.
Hell yeah! Oh my god, we could have used it. We were in like Johnstown or something.
Man, we gotta get them to Love Drafts.
Yes.
All right. Yes.
Sure. We love to come back. I mean, we're trying. Can't share too much, but we're hoping we get to be out on the road and do an East Coast run here in a couple months. So Fingers crossed.
Fingers
Is
crossed.
there anything else that you can kind of tease us with or say about upcoming projects or anything you have going on?
We have the EP coming out in May. We don't know the exact date. We don't know what it's going to be called, but it will be coming out. So it'll be new music. I think that's our priority right now is two things. It's one, we need more music out because we got momentum when we only had a few songs out. So we're trying to like play catch up and get more music out there because we have so many songs, so many ideas. So we want to release music. We'll have that EP. We're trying to get out to Omaha in the spring to work with Kevin, our LA guy who did Are We Having Fun Yet? And One More Night. And we want to write as many songs with him as possible. So I'm not going to say the word album with a lot of conviction and confidence, but it would be really sick if we could make an album this year. But definitely an EP, definitely new music, potential collaboration. And then the second priority for us is just to get out on the road. So we played Milwaukee and Chicago last month. We played Detroit this past weekend. We're trying to get out on a tour, hopefully in the next couple months. If not, then we're going to try to play at least around the Midwest. We really want to get to Dallas. We want to get down south. We want to get to Charlotte, places like that. So just stay close because we're working on a lot behind the scenes and so much more new music ahead, which is super exciting. And I just
will definitely throw your name out.
Yeah, yes, please. I just hope people love it because it's challenging. Like One More Night went viral, and then we released Are We Having Fun Yet? And we're obsessed with that song, but obviously, it didn't go viral. So then it's like, okay, well, we kind of feel
that
sad.
should be the name of your album. We're having fun.
We're having
fun now.
Yeah, we're really having fun. Even though not every song can go fucking viral. But yeah, so much to come. Nothing concrete besides the EP.
TikTok's fun. TikTok's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun and it's a lot of work at the same time. Like it is like you can have a ton of fun with it, but people are merciless on there, especially the accounts with absolutely no name, with the ones that are just letters.
Is there 6ix9ine?
The meanest. Yes.
Yeah. Luckily, like when you asked about the vibe of our shows, that's sort of also the vibe of our TikTok comment section. Like the amount of negative comments on the viral TikTok is so small.
Yeah.
It's shocking. And I am so grateful because I'm a tough, strong, independent woman, but things make me sad still. So I don't know how I would have reacted if people were being super mean, but so far people have been pretty nice. We've gotten some mean stuff and some weird stuff, but that's kind of a given.
I was just gonna say, what's a weird fan interaction that you've had online? Because they're always weirder when they're online.
Yes, it is bizarre. This past weekend, someone asked me how often I meet with groupies after the show, and I was like, approximately never. Sorry. That wasn't that weird. There's people that have offered to buy my socks that I'm wearing in the videos.
Lovely.
They're very specific about it. So they'll say like minimum 3 days wear. I'll pay you this much money. I would like a picture of it's just so bizarre.
Yeah, I stopped selling shoes on Facebook Marketplace. It was getting weird.
Oh my God, yeah. You wouldn't have thought it'd get weird, but I think the weirdest ones for us are like they'll make comments because I'm a woman and then I'm in a band with two guys. And so they'll be like, oh, which one's friend zoned? And I'm like, well, considering two of us are married, it's pretty obvious which one is. I mean, I wouldn't even call it friend zone, but they'll make some weird like sexual comments about like, oh, two guys and a girl in a band. I bet some fun stuff happens at rehearsal, and we're all just like, so gross. But
so, are there any festivals that you're looking to be part of?
Yes, of course. We got to play Summerfest.
About those festivals.
We got to play Summerfest last year, which was a dream, and we definitely were not ready. We had like 100 listeners on Spotify, and like we just got so lucky. I mean, this guy who runs the festival, he's super nice. He just loved our music, loved our music video, loved what we were about. So he was like, hell yeah, I got a spot for you. And he put us on a stage, at like 1 p.m. on a Thursday, which was hilarious. And that was the same stage that Leah Kate and Youngblood played on that night. So we were like, we opened for Youngblood, which is insane. Got to see him in the green room, and I cried. He was like, what's up, everybody? And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, I can't. He's super tall, by the way. He's like 6 foot.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, because I was like walking behind him and I was like,
Yeah.
"Who is this? He's British." And then I was like, holy shit. Like I did not realize. So Summerfest we'd love to get back to.
Of course he's British.
I know.
Of course he's gonna have that like sexy accent on top of everything else.
He's perfect. He's perfect. It's frustrating. So Summerfest in Milwaukee. We really want to play Riot Fest in Chicago. Obviously Lollapalooza would be a dream, but I think that's a bit far off for us. We have applied to Rocklahoma in Tulsa, which would be super fun. I really want to get out to Dallas for So What or something around When We Were Young. Obviously, that'd be the dream too, but again, probably far off, and they've already announced, so maybe next year. But yeah, any of those festivals would be a dream come true. So we're just gonna keep sending our emails and posting our TikToks and cross our fingers.
So what is the legacy that you guys would like to leave behind with your band?
Oh, I think two things. I think I can take things too seriously a lot of the times. And so I do want our music to be something that is just enjoyed. It's something that's fun to listen to. It's something that keeps you in the moment, allows you to be present, not think about, what's next or what happened earlier, like just thinking about the song or thinking about being in that space. So having songs that can last and make people feel good and happy and present would be awesome. And I think the second thing, obviously, with our ties to mental health and suicide awareness and prevention and stuff like that, I just would like for people to listen to the music and feel less alone in their heads. It can often be really isolating and scary place inside of your head if you struggle with things like depression, PTSD. My sister had bipolar, so I think a lot of that feels very unique and lonely, and there's some solace in the fact that maybe it's not. Like I used to get so hung up in like, no one else thinks how I do. I'm special, but I'm also alone. Like I'm so lonely. No one could ever understand. And so I would love for the legacy to be kind of proof that someone out there understands, proof that someone is going through the same thing and they're not letting it stop them and they're going to keep going for what they want. And so that people would feel less alone too, I think is a legacy we want to leave behind. So fun music that's fun to listen to that makes you feel less alone.
That's great. So do you have anything planned show-wise coming up? I know everybody's kind of like just now kind of getting into that, making up their spring and summer lineup.
Spring and summer after the freezing cold.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Nobody wants to be on tour in the winter.
Right. Nightmare. We have nothing concrete, which is sad. This is like the first time in a while that we haven't had a show on the calendar, but the reason is we're waiting to hear back on a couple of tours. And so that would be the goal.
Good. That's good news though.
Yeah.
That's the anticipation for us.
This is true. So we're really hoping for that. We'd be getting out on the road at the end of April, early May, which would be awesome. We definitely will play some on some tour, maybe not the whole thing. So if not before then, definitely at the end of April, early May, Chicago, East Coast-ish area. And then we're planning some, if we don't get that, we'll be planning to hit Minneapolis, Indy, Milwaukee, Madison, probably at the end of March, early March. So just staying close to socials to see where all that lands. But we really hope we have something more concrete soon.
Oh, definitely. And we'll repost when you put your song out and with your different venues. We'll definitely spread the word. Last but not least, let's get into your music. Where do people go? Like, are you guys big on Spotify? Are you guys bigger with YouTube? Like,
obviously TikTok.
Yeah, everybody kind of has their own one that they're building.
Yeah, this is true. TikTok for sure. TikTok, we post a ton and you'll see a lot of behind the scenes. You can get to know us on there, which is fun. Get vulnerable on there probably a little too much, but it's all good. We do have all of our songs on YouTube, and we're pretty active in the comments and interacting with people there. So YouTube, I did not think people still listened to music on YouTube, but a lot of people still listen to music on YouTube. So
Yeah.
definitely YouTube, TikTok, Spotify is probably our main one. We're on everything else. We're on Amazon, Apple, Deezer, SoundCloud, all of the things. Pretty active on it all. It's difficult to keep track of, but I know that definitely is a hard word to spell. And so if you're ever struggling to find us, we have a link tree. That's linktree/DM band that will link you to everything. So it'll have a master link to all the streaming services. It'll have the links to all of our socials. We have a website where we'll post any show dates, and we've got merch and stuff on there. The TikTok and Instagram DMs are always open. It's me who responds and reads them. So if you want to connect and say hi, send me a message. I respond to pretty much everything.
And our viewers, if you missed anything that she said, it's all going underneath her in the banner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it. Yes. Yeah, it's all me. It's all my eyeballs and my fingers typing those messages back. So connect with us on there. TikTok, Spotify, YouTube for sure are like the main three, but we're everywhere. Facebook too, sadly, but
and we like to try and tell everybody, like, it's all about sharing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, share, save, comment, the high value metrics on social. It all matters.
Yeah, we're big on sharing.
Mm-hmm. Love that. That's good.
But thank you so much for taking the time to come on. Like, it was so much fun, and we'll have to have you on again.
Yes, please. That would be awesome. You two are so beautiful and like put together, and your backgrounds are so cool. I'm like, feel like I'm slacking over here.
Yeah, you're good. I've been looking at that wallpaper the entire time. I've been like, I was like, oh, what are those swans?
Oh, and To Write Love on Her Arms calendar.
Oh, wow. We love it.
Is that flamingos?
I've been trying to figure it out. Yeah. Flamingos?
Yep. Oh, that is so cool.
I was like, is this red swan? Like, there's red swan, there's black swan, and then now there's red swan.
The pink swan. You know what? It is whatever you want it to be.
Yes, I love it.
It's definitely really pretty. I just love flamingos.
They're really cool. They eat shrimp.
They stand on one leg, which is what I do when I do my makeup.
That's me at yoga, and I am not doing a good job. The men twice my age are killing it though.
Dude, I know. Oh my god,
I'm not good at yoga. Like, everybody around me, whenever I like take a class or like go in, I'll be like all motivated, and the people are so serious about it. Like, sometimes my body doesn't want to bend a certain way. Like, I don't want to be judged on it.
I get it. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you so much. And, and we're so excited to see all the music you have coming up.
Thank you. This was such a blast. Y'all are so encouraging. This was awesome.
And definitely stay in touch. Yeah. If you come to Philly, let us know.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I hope so.
Definitely. And we'll have to, like we said before, we'll tell Nick Myers all about you guys and see if we can get something in the works.
Let's go. Thank you.
But thank you so much.
Yeah, have a great night.
You too.
She is awesome.
Yeah, she has so much fun.
Awesome. So it was an awesome night to do this, and I'm so happy to see you.
And I have so many songs that I get to go back now and kind of like look up and like, I love when people talk about like other songs that they really like.
I know.
And like as soon as we get off, and be like, oh, blah 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 blah.
I know.
Surviving Guild. No. But well, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. And I just want to remind everybody to go on. I'm still going with the Inked magazine. So make sure you go on and vote. Make sure that you throw us a subscribe so you stay updated on all A Pretty Little Podcast news and shows. And Jessie, I will see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.